Hello, and welcome to Roar's Brainworks, where we get creative and see if it works. Today, we're going to be working with some Hishi Suspenders, as you can see right here. As you can see with the overhand knots, it uses a lot of the Hishi style, but are on both sides, much like a suspenders, holding up this waistline right here. This design is a little bit different than the one you see in the thumbnail. That's the more basic version. I'm going to show you this one. A nice little chest tie. But before we can get down to that, we must first talk about safe, sane, and consensual safety. Be sure to have some safety shears with you at all times. You can always get a new rope, can't get a new life. And consensual, me, Marie, and Crochet Rory are all consenting adults. Communication is key. Now, before we take a deep dive into these Hishi suspenders, we must first thank my sponsor, KnotHead Nylon.
KnotHead Nylon is the destination for all your premium nylon rope bondage needs. Easy to clean, water resistant, up to 1,100 pounds of weight load, and in a wide array of beautiful, vibrant colors, KnotHead Nylon will slake your rope desires. At checkout, put in discount code RORY10 for 10% off.
So what are we going to be needing for this? Well, 2 ropes, 30 foot preferably. First one is going to be our base, which is going to create both the belt and the suspenders. And the other one is going to be our accent rope, which is going to kind of create the intricacies that make it beautiful, that open up the Hishi which makes the diamonds and gives it its name. And the way that the accent rope kind of reminds me of the druid harness that we had done previously. It makes a nice design in the middle of the chest. I like it. And hopefully, you like it too. Let's get started. So we'll start by taking the bite of our rope, the middle of our rope, and we're going to wrap it around the chest. I'm going to take the bite of my rope and stick the tail end through it. I'm going to pull back this way and then give opposing pressure to tighten it up a little bit. And we're going to be sending that over the opposite shoulder, creating that opposing tension. Now you don't need to make this line too entirely tight because it will get tightened based off of the work that we will be doing with it. Now we will begin creating the overhand knots for the Hishi coming down this shoulder. Now that we're over the shoulder, we're just going to create our first overhand knot, which I want to put just below the clavicle right here. You can feel the clavicle, the collarbone, as it goes back towards this area of the shoulder. We want to be just below it because we're going to be putting a knot in. So we're just kind of go over our hand, creating a loop, and then from behind, we're going to bring our tail ends through that loop. Now while we still have it loose, we have time to set up and make sure that we can place it. I'm going to make sure I lose some of the slack that's up here. Pull it down, hold it in place. Now the collarbone's right here, which is a little bit off for me. So I'm going to adjust it slightly. There we go, just below the collarbone there. It's not difficult to figure out how to. And it's pretty easy to feel out how to adjust an overhand knot. They're one of the most simple knots. And I believe in you. So maybe 4 or 5 inches down, we're going to create another overhand knot. So at about 4 to 5 inches down, we're going to create another overhand knot. Adjust that as I see fit. Good, I'm liking that. And then we'll move on down. Now we are going to do one little overhand knot right here, just at the base of the belt here. Making sure that we have this area right here, which will be creating the diamond, to be about the same distance as it was on the one above it. Now one of the things we will be doing is a half hitch right here, because we want to be going this way. And a half hitch is good at giving you that 270 degree. We're going to pull this up a little bit. We're going to go over it, then under and around. And once it's done that, it's just going to cross over itself, just like that. Now we're doing that we are doing it that way for a reason. We could go under and then over and underneath ourselves, but I want this side to be raised and this side depressed. You'll see in a little bit. So now we're just going to do this on this side, but in the opposite direction. So now we're going this way. So we're going to start by going under and then around over. So that's under, and then it's going to go around, over, and underneath itself. Keep that separated a little bit. You can see right there. That's because our accent rope is going to start here, and it's going to start on this, and it's going to push that part down, creating that sort of style. It's going to add to our structure, durability. Now what we need to do from here on out is put our overhand knots in the same spots on this side, like so. Looking good. Now let's tie it off in the back. And as we come back down from the shoulder, we're going to go underneath, around, and through. That is one of the best little things you can remember about trying to close off and secure an area. Underneath, around, through. Doesn't necessarily have to be in that order. I think the through should be last, but it can go around and then under and then through. That is a good way. If you cannot remember how to precisely tie something off, that's always a good rule of thumb there. So we're going to go underneath, we're going to go around, and then we're going to come through. So we're going under. I'm going to go around, and then I'm going to come through. Tighten that up. There we are. We went under, around, through. Easy peasy poo. Now we're going to let this tail end of the rope hang out for a little bit while we go and grab the accent rope, and then move back around to the front. So I got the tail ends of my rope and the bite of my rope, and I'm going to put those together, and I'm going to pull, because we're going to get what I call the nega bite. And what we're going to do is simply take this bottom rope down here, and we're going to stick the nega bite through there. And just like a normal girth hitch, we'll bring it down, pull the tail ends through, and then tighten that up. Perfect. Look how simple and easy that was, and it looks pretty. Now the accent rope is going to diagonally ping between the two diamonds, open them up, and make its way to the back, where it will come back around and open up from the other sides. Now the simplest way for any Hishi Karada to open up this diamond area is to just go in and pull out. We're going to add a little bit of flair to that, as you can see as we go around and pull out. It's still pulling out, creating that diamond-like shape, but it's got a little extra pizzazz. So let me undo this one, and we'll go from there. So first we examine what we did. This one came up, went over, underneath, and over itself. Easy enough. So we're going to grab this line, we're going to go over it, underneath, and then it goes over itself, up in that direction. Now in order to test the tightness of this, you're going to be pulling this way a little bit. So you only want to give as much towards this half hitch as you want to, in order to ensure that your diamonds are going to be opened up enough. If I make it too loose in this area, that means it's going to go pull too hard and it might not be exactly where I want it to be. If it's too tight, then this side's not going to be able to go enough. And it all depends on where you want the diamonds to be. Do you want them to stay over here? Do you want them to move over a little bit? It's all up to you. Most importantly, we want to try and keep it in near the middle. That way when it pulls from both those angles, it opens up, looks nice. At this point is your time to adjust that and figure out exactly how tight and loose you want it by experimenting a little bit, by pulling on the edges. Now we do the simple crossover right here because if you were to try and tie anything in the middle, it does get a bit clunky. So keeping it a little bit more simple is the right thing to do, in my opinion. You can play with it as much as you want to. Maybe you can find something that works. I certainly hope you do. Moving on up from there, let's get these parts down. Same thing we did with the last one. Gonna go over, through, and over ourselves. Tighten that just slightly. I'll play around with how it's gonna feel. Yeah, that's about what I want. Same thing with this one. Gonna grab this inside one. We're gonna go over, through. Get that over the shoulder. I'm gonna play around with tension real quick. Yeah, that's looking good. I like that. The back is pretty simple. We're just gonna cross over and we're actually gonna go underneath these ones right here. Whoop. And a bit of a whoop. Murray, how have you been feeling through all of this? Awesome. I'm gonna give you your arms back. I'm probably gonna give them back the right way though, so you're not reaching backwards, which would just be creepy. So these are going to tighten up just a smidgen, and they're gonna go beneath the armpits and towards the front. And no doubt when you gave that cross in the back and tightened it a smidgen, it's gonna make this look a little bit tighter, but we've prepared for this. Just rest that one there. So this side, for me, we're gonna keep it a little bit simple. And we're just gonna do the normal Hishi pullover. And in a way, it's going to follow a little bit like this one right here. As we come up, it goes over and then under. Right here, over and then under. Tighten that down a little bit. We'll work it on the other side. Over and then under. Pull it around towards the back. We're gonna have these continuing to go underneath. At this point in time, you might be running out of rope, in which case these little bits might not be able to go around towards the front and grab those and bring them back. That's why we have this part of the base, the tail end of that, as the security. That can go up and go around there, go this way, come back around, go back the other way. And these two are just going to pass by each other underneath and back around towards the front. And it is at this point, and they're going to do the same thing we just did. Over and under, pull it open a little bit, make its way to the back. Same thing on this side. We're going to go over and then under. Tighten that a little bit. Gonna have this go under right here. I'm really towing the line as far as how much rope I have left at the end of this one. So we're just gonna do a surgeon's knot. So we're gonna cross over and then tighten. We're gonna pull down. Use the longer end. Go through here, cross over each other, and then tighten. If anyone says surgeon knots and square knots don't belong in Shibari, that person's lying to you. They absolutely can. Especially when you need them to. Do they look the most beautiful? No, not really. And I guess that's probably why they say that. But I dig it. If we want to lock it down a little bit more, we can add some pizzazz. So I brought this out. Let me go underneath this real quick. Under, and then over this one, and then under the next. Yes, we're going to lock it down with a buckle. What goes over must go under, so saith the Rory. We fit one in this one. Which means we're going to go over this one again, under this one, and then over this one. We'll use the actual tail end to guide us, because it's a little bit precise. Over, under, over. That will create a little bit of a buckling effect and hold this in place. Do the same thing on the other side. Grab my tail end, makes it easier. Ready to go underneath that bad boy. Over, under, over, under, and naturally it'll be going over itself at that point. Adds a little pizzazz, makes it look cool. Make another overhand knot. I'll stick these in there. There we go. Hold those in place. Now you do have these extra tail ends right here. I got about 2.5, 3 feet of it. Now those can be homework rope if you would like to. You can create half-hitch filigree going around towards the front. You can place them into the arms. You can do a lot of things with them. Or you can just let them dangle and braid them down to create a tail. That's up to you. And with a little adjustment, there we have it. We have some Hishi Suspenders. It looks nice, it feels snug. Marie, how does that feel on you? Like to hear it. And it's really using tools that we already know. The overhand knots for Hishi Karatas, if you've done some of the other Hishi tutorials we've done before. It's a classic, it's a staple. I love doing them, they're easy to do. You can utilize them with what seems to be an extended 2 half hitches or making an extended cow hitch, and then girth hitch, easy. With these small, simple tools, you can create your own harnesses. That's my whole thing, giving you the tools to go out there and create. Use those beautiful little brains of yours. Well, hey, I hope you had as much fun learning from that tutorial as we did at teaching it to you. Marie's just hanging out on the couch, not doing anything nefarious or weird. I know she's plotting and planning something. I just don't know what it is yet. It's the anticipation that's killing me. Anywho, I'd be remiss if I did not bring up my other lovely sponsors for today, the wonderful people over at Patreon. That's patreon.com/RoarsBrainworks, just like this YouTube channel. They are my rope vanguard, my colonizers of dreams. And without them, these ropey endeavors would be way harder to accomplish. Thank you for spending your time with me. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this madness, and comment down below what kind of ropey things you would like us to teach you. As always, I'm Rory. This is my brain. I'm fairly certain it works. Be safe and go create some art.